Hi everyone, my name is Diana Knott, and this is my presentation on female security and empowerment, a discourse analysis on the Shiv Sena Mahila Agadi in Mumbai, India. So first I'd like to discuss the topic, the puzzle, and my research question. So initially I started off with female vigilantism and then specified to India, urban India, and more specifically slums. My question is, how do governmental organizations, the Shiv Sena, and the general public construct female security and empowerment in the context of the Shiv Sena Mahila Agadi in Mumbai, India? The three discourses I am proposing to analyze are 1. Women as victims, women as empowered, and women as villains. So how does existing literature explain vigilantism? First off, I'd like to start off with this quote from one of our Abbott readings, which reads, "Intellectual life is neither a shootout nor a sequence of random opinions. It is a mutual challenge with equal emphasis on mutual and challenge." This particularly informed my literature review because I felt that it strongly emphasized the fact that other scholars may not be answering the same research question as I am, but they are continually challenging one another in their works, and neither one of them is particularly dominating the scene. So first off is the community group. This group emphasizes a history of community policing and homogenous moral values. For example, Insanult and Atrigi Sen focus and specifically use the words moral outrage and soldiering culture of morality to describe vigilantism. In this way, they are entirely linking the concept of vigilantism or the behavior of vigilantism with morality. In this view, women can be seen as empowered and that they are a moral authority. Next up is the identity group, which focuses on security and claim to the city. This is particularly interesting from the view, from this case of slum women, and that slum women are entirely marginalized. They are physically excluded from the city by being on the margins of society, and they are psychologically excluded as from living in slums. Therefore, they act dominantly through violence and assert their claim to the city through vigilante behavior. In this way, they can be seen as victims in that they are marginalized, but also empowered women in that they are still asserting their claim to the city. Third is the legal group, which focuses on corruption, abuses, and illegitimacy of the state. This is how many people commonly understand vigilantism. In this view, women are seen as victims in that they are being abused by the state, or they are being abused and the state is doing nothing about it, either because the state is simply inadequate or it is in itself corrupt. Last is the economics group, which focuses on the role of economics for women or vigilantes in general in vigilante behavior. In this view, women are seen as empowered or understood as empowered through vigilante behavior. They gain more economic independence and are able to insert their independence from husbands and potentially abusive husbands or family members. So let's talk about mapping representations. I chose an interpretivist research design and more specifically a discourse analysis. The actors producing these discourses are governmental organizations, the larger Shiv Sena political party and supporters, and popular discourse, or general public opinion. The actors affected by discourses are members of the Shiv Sena Mahila Agadi vigilante women. For context, I wanted to focus broadly on feminist theory and the fact that it originates from the West. Now, my entire research design focuses heavily on feminism and feminist scholars, but it's based in South Asia, so that's something I want to look for research-wise in terms of scholarly research material out there. Additionally, something important is India's political background, from colonialism to the partition of India. There's a lot of ethno-religious conflict, and that's especially notable because the Shiv Sena political party is an ethno-nationalist group based around Hindu nationalism. They are anti-Muslim, and they are pro-Marathi, which is an ethnic group in India. More specifically, I am interested in analyzing from 1992-1993 Bombay riots onward. The Mahila Agadi has existed since the 60s or 70s, however, they did not gain prominence until this time because of their large-scale participation in violence against Muslims during these riots. And this is within the Maharashtra state in India, which is where Mumbai is located. For text and analysis, I am interested in looking at newspaper articles, government official statements, videos, photos, and social media. Just a note on this last one, social media is incredibly important and really marked a breakthrough for me in creating this research design, because it was a way for me to effectively analyze the public discourse on the Mihila Gadi through Twitter and Facebook groups and comments, which I have found incredibly useful so far. Now, I am hoping that all these texts give me exposure to multiple meanings, and more importantly, more than just a few actors. This will hopefully give me access to intertextuality, especially through different sources, and I've already seen that a little bit between, for example, a tweet on social media about women's safety and a newspaper article focusing on the Shiv Sena and their official statements. Lastly, I'd like to discuss trade-offs and critical reflections. I narrowed my focus to the Mihila Gadi. Originally, I had a what explains question about what explains the occurrence of vigilantism in some places and not others. Now, from there, I chose between an ethnography and a discourse analysis. I really wanted to do an ethnography with this research question below. However, I don't plan on going to India anytime soon, and so it was unrealistic to do so. As a result, I chose a discourse analysis with my original question from the first slide. Now, lastly, I'd just like to discuss the difficulty of finding data sources. This is something I've struggled with throughout my research process with all research designs, and I'm still somewhat struggling with, just because it's such a specific area that I'm looking at, really. Area I'm interested in researching. And so this is something I plan to keep on trying to be creative about, especially in terms of use of social media, which I believe has a lot of potential in terms of finding texts in the future. That's it, and thank you for listening.